Hello YouTube, this is Bruno. Today we will talk about guardian farms, more specifically guardian farms that are completely built in the overworld. I will show you two farms, one of which you can see here, and the portal on the side is only for the player to give easy access to the drops. But otherwise it's all in one dimension. Guardians are pushed up, pushed over to the soul campfires and killed there. And that's about it. Ever since Minecraft introduced the water elevator using soul sand in the aquatic update 1.13, guardian farms have looked pretty much like this. This is the spawning sphere where hostile mobs can spawn. Guardians can spawn in this area, and here we have water streams pushing them into portals. So most of the guardians are here and transported to the nether where they are killed. Here I'm using another player to load in the overworld. The guardians come out of the portal and are killed by the soul campfire. You could build this a bit higher and kill them faster because they take fall damage, but it doesn't really matter because they don't count against the mob cap for the overworld player as soon as they are through the portal. As long as they are killed, everything is well. This farm produces roughly 50,000 drops an hour, and it works great, except if another player is in the nether and more than 128 blocks away, then all of the guardians will despawn immediately, and the farm produces exactly 0 drops. But you don't have to remove all of the water, like players used to do before the aquatic update to build a guardian farm. Instead, we can just use a small modification and create a one-dimensional farm. So if you play on the server and you want your guardian farm to work if another player is in the nether, then you might want to consider this farm. It's actually very easy to build. You don't need anything special to build it except for a few potions of invisibility. And the rates are still pretty good. As you can see, it's about 13,000 drops an hour. A bit more than half as prismarine shards. But you'll also get plenty of prismarine crystals, raw cod, and even a decent amount of black ink sacs. So this means you get all the ingredients for sea lanterns, prismarine blocks, and dark prismarine. I built this farm mostly out of glass, just so you can see what's going on. But you could build this farm basically with any building blocks. Just make sure that no mobs can spawn here. So you might want to use bottom slabs, for example. And apart from that, you can just use normal building blocks. The player, of course, is high in the air over the farm. The spawning sphere is designed in a way that the guardians can spawn only in a very small area. And you can see if they spawn on top of the soul sand platform, they're immediately pushed into these water streams. And either they go directly into the elevator, or the water streams will push them through these fence gates into the water elevator. They will get stuck there for a moment under the glass blocks. However, guardians will be pushed in if the next guardian comes. And occasionally guardians might spawn outside of the sphere, but eventually they will sink down and will sink out of range. Or they will just swim out of the spawning sphere and immediately despawn. So a guardian that spawns outside of this platform has a rather short life. The rates of these types of farm will be never as good as the portal-based farms, because simply if a guardian enters a portal, it's removed from the mob cap. Here the guardians will count against the mob cap and you won't have any new guardians spawning until they are killed, which of course takes a while to transport them up and kill them. But the rates are still pretty good. We're talking about roughly 4 double chests an hour, or if you think in terms of the blocks that you want to get, so which is typically dark prismarine or sea lanterns, you will get roughly 1,500 of these blocks per hour, which is really good. And maybe the best property of the farm is that it's really fast to build. It took me roughly 40 minutes to build it. And I will give you a block by block tutorial how to build it in a different video. So if you want to know how to build this farm, check out the description. You will find a link to the other video there. But we have another farm to show, and if you want to go to the world download, you will find a command block that takes you to the other farm. And let's use FreeCam again. This farm looks very similar, but it's even easier to build because it's basically built out of scaffolding. So you don't have to use any temporary blocks to put in the water streams. You can break scaffolding even if you have mining fatigue, which means you could build this farm without even killing the elder guardians. And the principle of this farm is very much the same. We have 4 strategically placed scaffoldings. From these scaffoldings we can go 6 blocks out in each direction, which results in this diamond-shaped platform here. And guardians that spawn on the soul sand will shoot through the scaffolding and into the water streams and will transport it into the middle. And in the middle of these scaffolding blocks here, we have one water source, or rather a bubble elevator. If the guardians touch this water source, they will be moved up and shoot through this platform here and be pushed once again into the soul campfires. This farm actually took me about 20 minutes to build, so it's even easier. Now the rates are a bit lower than the other farm, but still pretty good for a 20-minute build. You'll get over 7,500 drops an hour. That's more than 2 double chests. Half of them are prismarine shards, the rest is split between cod and prismarine crystals. However, this farm will give very few ink sacs. So if you want to craft dark prismarine, you will have to look for a different farm, like the other one I just showed you, or you'll have to build a separate squid farm. But still, 7,500 drops, that's not bad for a farm that is built basically out of scaffolding, a few building blocks, a few chests and a few hoppers. And that can be built in 20 minutes. At the very least, this farm will give you all the sea lanterns that you'll ever need. And by the way, if you're wondering about the wool here, we need this just for carpet mods to counter drops, to give us these nice figures. In the world download and in the farm, there wouldn't be any wool, instead you would have chests over there, of course. I found the idea to use scaffolding first in a video from IanXO4. He uses scaffolding to design his fantastic XP Guardian farm. However, his farm uses portals and won't work on the server. Also, MindTheFab has designed a somewhat similar farm. I will also link this in the description. There will be build tutorials for both farms linked in the description. Close to each farm you'll find a little island that isn't quite as empty as it looks right now, because it contains the chest where you can see what you need to build this farm. If you want to build it exactly like I did, of course you're free to change this. And I'll also link a Linemedica file in the description. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you want to see more content like this, and see you next time. Bye bye.